Hello again and welcome back to my shop. Today I'd like to show you how to make a very simple segmented pin. And here's what I came up with. I love the design. It kind of looks like bricks. The top one is poplar and cherry. The bottom one is walnut and maple. These are very simple to make, and once you know these simple techniques, you can do all kinds of additional cuts or even angles to really give yourself some stunning pins. So let's get started. The first thing I want to do is joint both sides of this blank so that later when I split it down the center, I can reverse the sides and have a nice flat surface to glue to. Now that I've got the first side jointed, I'm just going to put an X on it so that I can keep track of which side that it is, and then I'm going to flip this around and go ahead and joint the other side. And I'll also go ahead and put an X on this side. Now I'm ready to go to the bandsaw and split this blank right down the middle. I need to cut some laminate to glue between the blanks. I've got this walnut laminate and I'm cutting it to roughly 3/4 of an inch. It doesn't have to be perfect because a majority of it's going to get turned away in the turning process, but we'll try to do the best we can. Now I just want to take my blanks and we'll just lay them against the laminate and cut off a section roughly equivalent to the length of the blanks. And then you'll remember we put an X on each side that we jointed, so that is the inside now. And we'll go ahead and we'll glue this up, and that's going to give a nice little contrast with the maple. Let's get all the blanks glued up. You'll notice the X is facing up. That was the side that we jointed early on in the process, and that's the side that we want to glue the laminate to, and so we've got a nice smooth fit and a nice joint. Just get the glue spread around a little bit here. Whoops, it helps to put the side with the glue toward the inside. All right, I'm going to grab a couple of clamps and I'm going to clamp these up and leave them clamped up for 30 minutes or so, and then we'll let them dry overnight and continue on. All right, I think I've hit on something here. I made myself a drilling template out of this scrap piece of wood, and you can see that the last 4 holes, or the 4 holes to the right, even though they're not within the squares, I don't really care about that. I can always adjust my cuts to cut them out. They are not breaking the laminate. So I'm going to go ahead and finish out the top 2 sections of this, centering the holes, and then I'll be able just to lay it over top of my laminate and just one after another pound out the holes. And I can probably put maybe 2 pieces or 3 pieces together. I don't want to get too thick, but this should allow me to get my 1/4 inch holes in the laminates. The glue is dry on all of my blanks, and I took them to my sander and just ran them across the belt just to kind of flatten out any rough spots where the laminate was sticking through. Now I've got them over here in my chuck on my drill press, and I'm going to go ahead and drill a hole as far as I can down through the blank. Now I realize I'm not going to get all the way through. My bit's not long enough, but that's okay. We'll cut pieces off, and when we get closer to the end of the hole that we make, we'll bring it back over to the drill press and go ahead and drill the rest of the way through the blank. For cutting the segments of my pins, I made this little jig. It's nothing fancy. I made a runner that fits in the slot of my table saw. I just took a piece of plywood and I sanded the top and the bottom, attached the runner to it with some glue, and I've waxed it so that it's going to slide a lot easier on the saw. I drew a line perpendicular to the blade and mounted this oak board with a nice flat edge on the top of the sled. And I've got just another pin blank here with a clamp as my stop block to give me roughly 1/8 of an inch sliver each time that I make a cut. So let's get one of our blanks and let's make a few cuts and see how this works. And here are the segments that I just cut. They've got a nice consistent size. I'm real happy with that. You can see the laminate in the middle there. These are going to work out great. I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of this blank cut up, and then we'll move on to the glue process. You'll have to excuse my bench. It's a bit messy right now. I went ahead and switched over to a walnut blank, one that I drilled out at 1/4 of an inch, and I cut it up into the segments. I'm going to go ahead and use this one because I want my blank to be able to be drilled out to fit any size pin kit. So going with the 1/4 inch hole will allow me to ream it out once the glue is dry. And I've got some maple segments to go between the walnut segments, or some maple laminate to go between the walnut segments. So let's get started and let's build a pin. Got to be real careful with this laminate. Now what I want to do is I want to pay attention to where the laminate stripe is on this blank, and I want to put it opposite of the other one. So the other one goes this way. It goes back toward the back of the bench. So I'm going to put this one on sideways. That way they're perpendicular to one another. And I'm going to continue to alternate them all the way up as I make the rest of the blank. I've reamed out the hole in my segmented blank to 7 millimeters, and I've gone ahead and drilled the tubes in, and they've had sufficient time to dry. And I'm experimenting with the best way to barrel trim them, because you really can't grip this in a vise, and you really don't want to hold it in your hand because those little things can be kind of sharp. Here's what I came up with. I'm wrapping a shop towel around the blank so that I can get a good grip on it with my hand. And then I'm just going to basically run it up on the barrel trimmer nice and slow, very gently, and just lightly trim until I get a good flat surface. Alright, and there we go. Take the rag off. We've got a nice surface. You can see the ring is just peeking through, and we're ready to take this to the lathe. I've got my segmented blanks on the lathe. I'm going to take my roughing gouge, and I'm just going to start out and make very light cuts and get these trued up, and then we'll take a look at them and see where we want to go from there. I am really happy with how this blank is turning out. This is looking really cool. I'm going to get the lathe going again and finish truing these up. But I'm excited about how these are turning out. I'm not really sure how well you can see this pin in the video, so I'm going to pull it out and show it to you. Look at that. Is that cool or what? The effect is just awesome. I'm going to go ahead and shut the camera off. I'm going to sand and finish this pin. It's ready to go. It's down to the bushings. I'm going to sand and finish it, and then I'm going to come back and show you what it looks like. I am extremely pleased. Couldn't be happier. I've got my pin assembled, and let me give you a look at it. I think it turned out absolutely amazing. I love the effect that the laminate gives. Kind of looks like bricks all around the pin. I think it just looks absolutely fantastic. Thank you for joining me in the shop today. I really hope you enjoyed my video on simple segmenting of ink pens. If you did, leave me a thumbs up. If you really liked my video, share it on social media with your friends. Feel free to leave a comment. I try to answer all comments, and I truly appreciate them. If you're not a subscriber, click that subscribe button down below, and all of my future videos will be delivered directly to your YouTube feed. I'd also like to invite you to join me over on Facebook at RJBWoodTurner. It's kind of a behind the scenes look at the goings on in my shop. You'll see projects like this documented as I work on them, and you'll see many other projects and items that I'm working on that don't make it into videos. So why not click over there and give me a like? I appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me in the shop, and I want you to know that you are always welcome in my shop. Come back and see me again real soon. Have a great day.